And it's easier said than done because thinking for most people happens quite automatically. And one thing for every coach, for every person to learn is to be able to choose whether to engage in a thought or just let it go again. And that's what most meditative practice is about. Meditation is, for me, it's a way to learn the skill of choosing what you want to do when a thought event occurs. Because it's not that I am thinking something, it's like a thought popped up and I want to have a choice whether I'm going to follow that thought or just let it go again. I don't want to be so attached. If I think this is the thought of a century and this will just pierce through the client defenses and they really need to hear it, I'll make a little note. I'll make it on a paper or I make it in my head. If it's important, it'll come back. But I don't want to interrupt that client, especially if they're saying something at the moment that is important to them. When is there time to think for the coach also offers a beautiful example of why listening is so important. In organizations, leadership, executive coaching, often it is expected of coaches, or coaches feel that it is expected of them to be more active, to offer input, to offer guidance and advice. Coach me through this. I'm getting paid very high fees. I feel a responsibility to give more of myself because perhaps you believe that's what people are paying you for. Consider Nancy Klein's Time to Think work. It's a huge global movement. She's one of the most respected coaches in the world. She created what's called the Time to Think model to really lean into listening by creating a space where someone has time to think. She will promise you she won't interrupt your talking and she won't interrupt your thinking. And when you're done thinking, she's probably going to ask you if you have some more thoughts around this. And so really within this framework, there's very little input from the coach other than holding that space and deep listening. And the success of that model and the success of her philosophy and her work, to me is a testament of the power of creating space to listen and connect